but this is actually going to be a Hillary coalition. She did extremely well with Hispanics, trounced Hispanic voters against Barack Obama in 2008. That's upticking. African-American proportion will go down a little bit, not because fewer African-Americans are voting or we're a lower share, and you're going to see a coalition that is still filled with college-educated white women and brown people.
As if anyone could forget, quick reminder, we are just 6 days from Election Day. We'll have nonstop coverage right here on CNN. Be sure to join us. A lot ahead tonight. Trump has been encouraging Democrats who voted early to change their votes, whether that's legal and whether it's likely are two very different questions. A number of states is possible. We'll answer both of those in the next hour. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, hon, I've got chips, I got drinks. Is there anything else?
I think we're out of eggs.
Okay, can you check?
Can you?
Yeah. I'm looking in the fridge now. The hen house is full.
Great.
You're in the kitchen, aren't you?
Hon, I gotta go. This project's going sideways.
This is what happens when you marry an artist.
We broke up.
We broke up.
We broke up.
With online dating.
If online dating is turning you off, we'll turn you on to a smarter way of dating. Introducing It's Just Lunch, the world's #1 personalized matchmaking service for professional singles.
Instead of spending hours and hours online, it made it fun for me because professionals are doing the work for me.
Our matchmakers do what no website can. We get to know you and personally hand select your matches.
Getting to know my clients is the most important part.
Just Lunch.
Ah, Beth. So the elevator's stuck again. With DirecTV and AT&T, you can stream your favorite shows without using your data. That makes you more powerful than being stuck in an elevator with a guy with overactive sweat glands.
Sorry, rode my bike today.
Hello. Cool.
Hey.
It's your TV. Take it with you. Watch all your live channels on your devices data-free.
For a night like no other, you need a network like no other. Why trust this night to anyone else? Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
I know everything about you, lady. You're a thief. You're a grifter. You're a survivor.
As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton faced a life-or-death decision. Strengthen our security in Benghazi or do nothing? Listen as Patricia Smith.
Because Arizona has not gone for a Democrat since it went for Bill Clinton back in 1996. And that's why Hillary Clinton has had some of her very big-name surrogates, including the First Lady Michelle Obama here in Arizona, trying to convince voters. All of her big-name surrogates have been just blanketing these battleground states, including the president, who is in North Carolina, arguing that his legacy is tied to Hillary Clinton, that he needs to pass the baton to her. And for Hillary Clinton, she was in Las Vegas on her way right now here to the Phoenix area. Her argument has been one that's actually pretty negative. It's not that positive one that she was hoping for when she had a little more breathing room in the polls before Friday when her email controversy exploded again, Anderson.
And I mean, from now until Election Day, does this blitz continue?
Oh, certainly. So she will be obviously heading here from Las Vegas. She's going to North Carolina for a couple stops tomorrow. She'll be in Michigan. She'll be in Ohio on Friday. And you're going to see her do this through Election Day. With three major focuses. One, women. You've seen an ad come out recently from the Clinton campaign highlighting some of the misogynistic comments of Donald Trump over the years. She's also courting African-American voters. There's going to be a radio ad out highlighting his comments, questioning really the legitimacy of Barack Obama as the first black president by pushing the birther movement, and also his characterization of basically all African-Americans living in inner cities when most of them do not. She's also going to be targeting, as you'll see here in Arizona, Hispanic voters. She has a Spanish language ad out, and she's really counting on her running mate Tim Kaine for this as well. He's going to be here Thursday, tomorrow. He's going to be giving a speech entirely in Spanish as she tries to sway more Hispanic voters her way.
All right, Brianna Keeler. Brianna, thanks very much. Arizona's in flux. There are plenty of other states. So is the state of the African-American vote, Democratic and Republican turnout. Almost too many other things to count. That said, we do have about 25 million other things to count, namely votes, 25 million or so ballots already cast, which already speaks volumes. John King is back to break it down for us. So we know early voting is more and more popular. Where does it matter the most, and who has the edge heading to the final days?
And let's start, Anderson, with that more popular part. About 30% of the electorate voted early ballot or absentee ballot 4 years ago. People have been studying these numbers. The political professionals think we might get close to 40%, maybe even hit 40% this year. So it is a bigger part, a more comfortable part of the American political culture, and that puts a premium on organizing and organization by the campaigns. And it also costs a lot of money to turn people out. Let's just look at the numbers you mentioned. Oops, let me bring this back over here, bring this up. 24 million almost 25 million ballots cast so far, because this data is from early this morning. 12.4 million of those in the battleground states, in the states we think are going to decide who is the next president of the United States. Where does it matter most? Well, if you look at this number, this is what we had a little debate in the last hour. I'm sure we'll get back into it. This is what concerns Democrats at the moment. I want to emphasize at the moment, because they say there are reasons for this. African-American turnout down 5.3% in North Carolina from 2012, down about the same amount in Georgia from 2012, down a little bit smaller amount in Florida. This is a comparison to 2008 data. Also down a little bit, we know, in the Cleveland area in Ohio, where it was critical. Now, Democrats say there were reasons, either later dates for early voting or fewer sites, and they say by the end of the week, look at the numbers.
And
that's
you could
important.
almost
We should
sense
look at
Donald Trump
those
was
numbers
just
by the end of the week. But if you're the
remembering
Clinton
from up there
campaign,
on that.
this is a huge part of your early vote turnout. Remember, President Obama lost both elections in ballots cast on Election Day. The reason he won 2 big electoral college landslides, early voting, especially among African Americans. So this, we need to keep an eye on this in the next few days.
So can Democrats make up that deficit? I mean, said we've got to look at the end of the week, basically.
They say they can. You've had a lot of events at churches. You've had a lot of events in other places over the weekend. And as you heard the president in the last hour, in North Carolina, for example, there are more open sites now. There are more registration sites that are open. So the Democrats think, will they match it exactly? The Clinton campaign doesn't think it can get there exactly, because she is not the first African-American president. You don't, even Barack Obama didn't match in 2012 when he had that first election of 2008. But they think they can get close enough. Yes, and then they think they have this. They think, and we talked about this a bit earlier, they also think they can do better among Latinos. A, because in most states the population is growing, and B, because they believe with Trump as the motivating factor and with her history in the community, they can get these numbers to go up. Now, that's pretty modest so far in North Carolina among Latinos. Pretty more be the difference. A very, very close rate right now. Watch Florida. It's up 4.5% from 2008. And where Brianna is in Arizona, it's not just the presidential race. Sheriff Joe Arpaio of Maricopa County is on the ballot, running for re-election. And in Arizona, Democrats and Republicans tell you they see a lot more intensity among Latinos because of that race.
As we talked about last hour, a new poll shows Colorado tied. Talked about the significance of that.
Well, let's just go to the map and take a look. Let me switch maps here and come over and go to the electoral map. Colorado has been a trending blue state. Used to be a toss-up state. George W. Bush won Colorado back in his elections. It has been trending blue because of the Denver suburbs. If you look at the map here, let me come back. That's where I was playing with a scenario last time. Here is where we are right now in the race. If you take Colorado, which is a tie, if you take it away, I got to take this off. I guess I'm doing something wrong here. What have I got? There we go. I know what I'm doing. Bring this back here. If you take that down, number one, if Colorado's a tie, that takes Hillary Clinton under 270. That's significant right there. Number two, it just gives Donald Trump more paths when you get there. We've been talking about the blue states that Donald Trump has to turn. You know, if you turn in New Hampshire, you're getting 4. It's great. It's 4 in the right direction, but it's only 4. You want to go to the bigger prizes. So Colorado, it gets you more. If you come this way, boom. So if the Colorado is in play, number one, it tells you something's happening out in the West, because our new poll shows him leading in Nevada, shows him leading in Arizona. We'll see what the third-party candidate does in Utah. But it tells you something's happening in the West, number one, and it also just gives Donald Trump more options. Now, he's running out of time. Let's be honest. The hill was this way last week for Donald Trump to get to 270. It's more like this. Still a steep hill for Donald Trump, but he has more options, and you can make plausible paths. Adding Colorado to that mix gives you more plausible paths.
All right, John, thanks very much. Going to join the panel coming up. Kaylee, Corey, I mean, where do you want to see Donald Trump focusing resources, focusing, his own presence in these coming days?
I want to see him focus on where he is now, these
blue states that need to be turned red. Because as I mentioned, he needs to be perfect. He's got to win Florida, has to win Ohio, has to keep North Carolina, and I think he will. And I think in many polls he's leading in those states. But he has to flip a leaning blue state red. That means Pennsylvania, that means Michigan, that means Wisconsin, it means New Hampshire. Just one of those he needs to flip. So what he is doing now, pouring resources into Michigan, going to these states, that's very good. I think he's taking the right path.
And I think if you look at the Clinton campaign and where they're spending their resources, right, they have all of their surrogates going to Pennsylvania. They're now concerned about that where they weren't a week ago. You know, a week ago this time, we were talking about the Clinton campaign winning in Texas, winning in Arizona. This is going to be a blowout of epic proportion. We're not seeing that now. What we see is Donald Trump and his campaign. Ivanka Trump is in New Hampshire tomorrow. Donald Trump is in New Hampshire on Friday. Donald Trump is back in New Hampshire on Monday. Barack Obama is in New Hampshire on Monday. It is going to be a battleground state because this could literally come down to 1 or 2 electoral votes. And if you factor in the 2nd congressional district in Maine, which Donald Trump is going to win, it comes down to 1 state, and that could be Colorado, it could be Michigan, it could be Wisconsin, it could be New Hampshire. And look, we see the last time there was a close election like this, if Al Gore would have won his home state of Tennessee, he'd be the President of the United States. If he would have won New Hampshire, he would have been the President of the United States.
Paul, let me ask you, though, if you know, so much Democrats made so much about the heavy hitters, the surrogates that Hillary Clinton had. Right. Given all the arguably heavy hitters that she has, why is this race still so close? I mean, the Democrats seem to be saying early on, well, you got President Obama, Joe Biden, you got Elizabeth Warren, you got Michelle Obama, they're all wildly popular, right. And yet, I mean, is she that bad a candidate that even with all these surrogates, it's still that
Hillary is now actually in a stronger position on this day of the election than Barack Obama was in the last election.
Really? You believe that?
I know it. I mean, I can do math.
It bears out in fact.
Yeah, right. I'm not going with my feelings. I'm going with data. And the data are clear. Hillary is in a strong position to win. Trump has to pull an inside straight in order to win. But neither side is just sitting pat, right? They're acting on this. The President of the United States is wildly popular with the folks that Hillary needs. He's going to turn them out. She does have a greater arsenal. Some of this is called leadership. Bernie Sanders is out there campaigning for Hillary Clinton. None of Trump's opponents are campaigning for him, with the exception of Chris Christie, who's, I think, trying to avoid testifying in court. None of them are, because he hasn't been able to unify his party.
Yes, he has.
Well, yeah, Scott Walker.
But can I mention something?
Okay, that's 2 Ben out of Carson's 16. been on the campaign
Can I
trail.
mention something? I mean, one of these things that we talk about, and John brought it up earlier, and we were talking about how the African-American vote is somehow soft, but then you show the increase in Hispanic turnout. In Florida, up until this point, they've had a 139% increase in Hispanic turnout. 365,000 Hispanic voters have voted more this year than they did in 2012. So when you add those dynamics in, when you're talking about the way that this coalition now looks, you have to begin to talk about these variables. And when you're talking about Hillary Clinton spending money in Wisconsin, I mean, there's a Senate race there, or Michigan, or Pennsylvania, or New Mexico, or Colorado. I mean, what do you want her to do? Take money home with her? She has more money than she knows what to do with.
But you have to admit, it's not just a week ago we were talking about her just running up the score. And that's not the case anymore. Well, it's not the case anymore. She's playing defense a little bit more.
You and I talked about this. She was 10 points up, and I said, no way, this is a dead heat country. It's going to be a dead heat race.
The super
Anybody
PAC
with a lick of sense
the
who
super
does
PAC pulled out of Colorado, the super PAC pulled out of Virginia, right? They said these races are done. All of a sudden, you know what we see?
But
they're
now,
putting
see,
resources back in.
That's a red herring.
You know what the amazing part is that only in a campaign, when you're taking donors' money, should you say, well, we shouldn't take it home. How about this? How about you give it back to the people?
Who does that?
How about, you know what Donald Trump does? He uses his own money, so he's much more judicious with this. You know what
Paul,
the
you're the
Democrats do? They say,
guy.
hey, guess what? We'll take all the money we can, and we'll spend it even if we don't need to, is what you're now saying. I think that's disgusting, to be honest with you. Why don't you give the people their money
Donald
back?
Trump did triple the rent on his own campaign in his own building.
Well, that's because he used triple the honor space.
But no, look, I want Kirsten to help me with this because she's smarter at this than I am. But look, we do, yes, we were. I'm sorry, Gloria's right. A week ago, the Democrats thought that she could get 358, 360. Even some Republicans were saying that because Trump was having such a problem post-Access Hollywood. You're right in the sense that once that filters out and Republicans come home. So we essentially have the Romney-Obama race with a couple of states that are a little bit different. But
do you agree that she's doing better than Obama was
on
doing?
This day, yes, she is. Now we love to talk about Access Hollywood states. We love to talk about FBI investigations. Truth is, in most campaigns, states go back to their DNA. Right. And so she has a 6-point lead now in Wisconsin, not a 12-point lead. President Obama won Wisconsin by 6 or 7 points. She has a 6-point lead in Pennsylvania, not a 10-point lead. President Obama won it by 6 points. States tend to go back to their DNA at this point in a campaign, and that's what we're seeing. Now, there are a couple of surprises. Nevada's a surprise. Arizona was a surprise when she was ahead. Now it seems to be going back to normal. Colorado's a surprise if that one poll is right, and it's only one poll, and that's a tie. So there are a few surprises out there. But mostly, she's up 6 in Virginia. That's where she's supposed to be. That's where the Democrat is supposed to be right now. She's up 6 or 7 in Pennsylvania. That's where she's supposed to be. North Carolina and Florida are going to be 2x4s to the final day. That's where they're supposed to be.
John, you're way too rational and complicated.
Yeah, but John is
screaming.
taking Iowa off of the map. Iowa is now clearly a Donald Trump place, and that's a place where Barack Obama won
and
twice.
Ohio.
And you look at Ohio, a state where Barack Obama won twice. I think most polls, the poll of polls, say Donald Trump is going to win Ohio. Donald Trump is going to win Iowa. So if you take the 206 electoral votes that Mitt Romney got, and you add Iowa in, and you add Ohio in, and now you obviously have the battlegrounds of North Carolina and Florida and others.
But North Carolina is counted in the 206.
It is, but
so
if
you have to take those back.
But
that's
if you look at that, right? Winning Ohio has always been critical for the Republican nominee. It has never been done without that. And what it looks like now, with 6 days to go, Donald Trump is going to win Ohio, and he's going to win Iowa.
But I also think
but we already, Ohio and Iowa, everyone's already sort of conceded that. So that's not really new.
I don't think they've conceded. They're still campaigning there.
But the point is, but even talking about Hillary campaigning in these places, she does need to make sure that her people turn out, and that's normal. And so I don't think we have to say because she's in a state that therefore means that she's losing it. She's covering all of her bases. And so I also think that if you look at the averages, which is you're always saying, look at the averages, she's up. And she just needs to be up before when we go into game day, and because she has an operation and he doesn't.
But more important than
Haley,
polling,
hold on, he has and that's going to give you 1 or 2 points. And so if we look at Barack Obama was up 1 point the day before the election. I mean, so she's still up. So I just think that I said give
nationally he was up 1. I think he was down in Ohio.
Yeah, give Donald Trump his due. What I mean is he's been able to close the gap, and I agree with Paul that I don't think people who really know what they're talking about ever thought this was going to be a blowout. This is everyone's coming home right now.
We got to take a quick break. Much more with the panel ahead. We'll also look into whether early voters can change their ballots if they have a change of heart. Donald Trump is certainly encouraging Democrats to do it. Is it even possible or likely? That's next. Also, busy night in the campaign trail. We're keeping an eye on events going on right now. We'll be right back.
You can't live in the past. The wins and the losses, the joy, the drama, the what ifs and should haves. All that means zero now. We all start from zero. This is why we play.
Managing your credit is a skill, and like any skill, you have to learn to walk before you can run. Getting the Experian app for free is a great place to start. It gives you access to your Experian credit report, alerts about changes in your credit, and customer service support to help answer your questions, so you can learn to be better. Start building your credit skills today for free. Download the Experian app right now. Experian. Be better at credit.
What to consider when considering home security?
Our neighbors down the street were robbed. It got me thinking. The only thing standing between my family and an uncertain world is 1.5 inches of wood. Considering everything I care about is behind this door, I want the best protection I can get in front of it. ADT.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help stop crime. Get ADT starting at just $28.99.
Tested, trusted, proven. ADT.
Excuse me. Again? Be right back. Always running to the bathroom because your bladder is calling the shots? You may have OAB.
Enough of this. We're going to the doctor.
Take charge and ask your doctor about Myrbetriq. That's Myrbetriq, the first and only treatment in its class for OAB symptoms of urgency, frequency, and leakage.
Myrbetriq Myrbegrone may increase blood pressure. Tell your doctor right away if you have trouble emptying your bladder or have a weak urine stream. Myrbetriq may cause serious allergic reactions. If you experience swelling of the face, lips, throat, or tongue, or difficulty breathing, stop taking Myrbetriq and tell your doctor right away. Mirbetriq may affect or be affected by other medications. Before taking Mirbetriq, tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. Common side effects include increased blood pressure, common cold symptoms, urinary tract infection, constipation, diarrhea, dizziness, and headache.
It's time for you to make the calls, so call your doctor to see if Mirbetriq may be right for you. Visit Mirbetriq.com to learn more.
Arrive in style. Stay in style. At the Bahamas' most elegant, all-inclusive resort. With its own private offshore island adventure, which is a vacation of its own. Experience 10 world-class restaurants and drink to your heart's content. Sandals Royal Bahamian. Experience 2 vacations in one at the Bahamas' best resort. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Well, Donald Trump has been encouraging Democrats who cast their ballots early to change their votes. Here's what he said yesterday in Wisconsin.
This is a message for any Democratic voter who have already cast their ballots for Hillary Clinton and who are having a bad case of buyer's remorse. In other words, you want to change your vote. Wisconsin is one of several states where you can change your early ballot if you think you've made a mistake.
Well, that is true. In a handful of states, early voters are allowed to change their minds. Whether it actually ever happens or happens often, that's a different matter. Tom Foreman joins me now with the lowdown. Tom?
Hey, Anderson, let's bring in the map because by our count, there are at least 7 states where you can get a do-over. You can vote again if you wish. Only one vote, but you can change it. That is Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Mississippi down here, and Minnesota as well, although their deadline passed earlier this week. Generally, pretty simple process. You have to show up in person to do this. You have to nullify your previous vote, which means you have to tell an election official that you officially do not want this counted when Election Day comes. And then you have to cast a new ballot. In many cases, you have to do that on Election Day. However, every state has its own little quirks and rules. And I got to tell you, Anderson, it's not really easy to find these rules, especially for a lot of normal voters out there.
Yeah, which brings up the next obvious question. Is this something that actually happens much?
It sure doesn't seem to be that way. For example, in Wisconsin, we spoke to one of the the clerks there in Oshkosh who said that even though their state allows you to change your vote 3 different times, 3 times, you can decide how you want to vote and finally come to a conclusion. That has never happened in that clerk's experience in that state, ever, that they know of in their particular area. If you go over to Connecticut, same thing. The Secretary of State's office got curious about this. They started calling around. They found a town clerk and said, what about your experience? Have you ever seen this? She said that in 8 years of covering elections there, she's seen 1 voter change the vote. So it is legal. It can be done. But if Donald Trump is counting on some kind of a landslide of votes, of people changing over to his side, history says, Anderson, not likely.
All right, Tom Foreman. Tom, thanks very much. Back now with the panel. It is interesting. I mean, first of all, I didn't know that was an option in a number of states. But the fact is, why would Donald Trump spend time talking about it if it rarely ever happens?
Because
he
news
can.
came out that he thinks might change people's votes.
Right,
but the fact of the matter is most people who show up to vote early know who they're going to vote for. They're not people who are probably going to change their vote. And the other problem is people don't, it's hard to get people to polls one time, let alone getting them twice. And I think that's another thing that he faces a problem with all his secret Trump voters, right, have to be turned out. And people don't generally, who typically don't vote, don't typically show up.
And Donald Trump was talking about Democrats want to change their vote. The worry in the Trump campaign is that a fair amount of Republicans early voted for Clinton. Soft Republicans, moderate Republicans, suburban women who were turned off by the Access Hollywood tape, or the women coming out making the accusations against Donald Trump who switched over, and the Clinton campaign got them to turn out early. So are you going to get a Democrat to change your vote? I think not. Did Donald Trump, how many? Who knows? But did he lose some Republican votes in early voting who might now say, oh, Obamacare premiums or the FBI investigation? What's the number? I don't know.
Although, gosh, I mean, there were so many Republicans who, after the Access Hollywood tape, seemed to be, Chaffetz was saying, oh, look, I just can't do it anymore. I'm out. And now they've changed their mind again.
Right.
I think Hugh Hewitt also, I think I just saw recently saying he now is likely going to vote for him.
Can I just say, can we just take a step back to that point and talk about where we are? That
that the pendulum, whether it's actually in the polls or more importantly in the narrative, can swing so aggressively to one side or another depending on where the news is, because the fundamentals of these candidates are so poor with regard to how what people think of them. It's really remarkable that, you know, Donald Trump has a horrible few weeks with the Access Hollywood tape, and then, you know, the issues about women, and the Clinton campaign, people are leaking that they're going to give some of their money to the Senate races, and everybody thinks it's over. And then boom, now you have another frankly flawed candidate who has her own issues, and the focus is on her, and things are looking bad for her. It's remarkable how volatile things are, and it's volatile because these two candidates are frankly just not well liked.
Well, it's also kind of amazing that when the focus is on one of the candidates, it's not good for them.
They do badly.
That doesn't speak well to either of them.
It's the most schizophrenic race I've ever seen, precisely because of Dana's point, which is that these candidates are so disliked, both of them, so that people flip back and forth because which one do I like more today, or can I deal with more today, or can I think of as president more today? And so what Donald Trump is doing is trying, and who can blame him for trying? I'm not so sure it's really going to work in reality, but reminding people, some of those guys who voted early, they may have made mistakes, and so don't you do that. It's a sort of a way to remind
and because of all these bouncing balls and flashing lights, and they're really exciting bouncing balls and flashing lights, a lot to talk about, and it's dramatic. I mean, it's dramatic, and it's important, some of it. The character questions have been about the candidates more than about policy. This is not a tax and spending election. This is not even a military defense strong America election. It's two characters of the candidates, which is why I would say you go back to the fundamentals. If the candidates are bouncing around, you look at the climate. The Moody's analytical analysis that came out the other day, a very reliable predictor, looks at the unemployment rate, looks at the president's approval rating, and they say, but based on their model, Hillary Clinton will get essentially what Obama got in 2012.
I couldn't agree more about how extraordinary the volatility is in the election. I think you're absolutely correct about that, and I think that's what magnifies what happened Friday. I think the momentum started trending in Donald Trump's direction. Friday, we find out about this reopened investigation, whatever you want to call it, into Hillary Clinton's emails. Monday, we find out about this white-collar department investigation in the FBI into the Clinton Foundation that has a lot of tentacles. And on top of that, we see now for the first time in this race, more Republicans supporting Trump than Democrats supporting Clinton. That's not before happened in this race. That's in the latest national poll.
Where are you seeing that?
This is the ABC poll. 87%. It was mentioned on our airwaves.
The ABC poll that had...
the ABC poll you were touting last week for
the same one
Clinton
that had
being
Mitt
12
Romney
points
up
ahead
1 point
for Donald Trump.
I know that before.
So not only that, but the enthusiasm is in Donald Trump's direction. That's in the ABC poll this morning. I do find it incredible Democrats touting it last week when Clinton was 12 points ahead. Now that Donald Trump's favored, it's no longer a viable poll.
You got to look at all of them together. But let me just ask a really simple question here. When the FBI information came out, and we already understood, we got the Access Hollywood tapes. We were coming off the 13 or 11 women who were accusing Donald Trump of sexual assault. We had the taxes. All of that stuff was baked in. We had the emails with Hillary Clinton. I'm really saying baked in, and that we have to bury that phrase, Gloria Borges, after this election, baked into the cake. But how many new voters out there? I mean, we're at a point now where as a candidate, and I just know this from running a few times before, once statewide, as a candidate, when you're this close to the election date, you're not going to get new voters. You're not convincing people to vote for you.
Enthusiasm.
You're going to suppress voters?
You're going to get your voters to the polls.
Right.
That is the goal at this point. We're at 11 days out. The goal is not to convince people to like you or to convince new voters.
Corey,
you have to get your voters to the poll.
Look, I think you've got to make a closing argument to the American people of why you need to be the next president of the United States. And what we saw in this clip earlier was Hillary Clinton is not going high where she says Donald Trump goes low, we go high. What we see is that she's going after Donald Trump, particularly in her paid advertising campaigns, because she wants to attack him, because she knows this race is very different than what they thought it was going to be a week ago. And what we see Donald Trump doing is talking about Hillary Clinton as well. FBI investigation, WikiLeaks, Clinton Inc., all of those things that they don't want to be talking about, Obamacare premiums. This race is now about...
They're both going low.
That's right. Who is disliked the most at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, they're going to go and say, who is disliked more than the other? And if you think that honest and trustworthy is the #1 factor, Hillary Clinton's in trouble. If you think that you want, the experience issue, then Hillary Clinton's going to do well.
Well, you like a low...
I like low, too. When they go low, we go lower.
Just beware of false equivalency. Hillary's the least popular, least trusted major party nominee, except for Donald Trump. And she's 10 points better than Trump on the negative. It's still awful objectively, but the greatest political strategist ever was Henny Youngman. Every time somebody asked him, how's your wife, he said, compared to what? How is Hillary? Compared to what? She's 10 points better than Trump. She's less hated than Trump. That's why she's going to win.
We're going to have more with the panel ahead. We'll also more from Henny Youngman. Also, we're going to hear from voters in Florida, try the veal, about whether they like the way Trump is pretty much staying on teleprompter. We'll be right back.
New bikes aren't selling, guys.
What are you going to do? How about we pump more into promotions?
Yeah, what else?
What if we hire more sales reps?
Yeah, what else?
What if we digitize the whole supply chain?
So people can customize their bike before they buy it.
That worked better than expected.
I'll dial it back.
Yeah, dial it back. Just a little.
Live business powered by SAP. When you run live, you run simple.
Who says I shouldn't have a soda every day? My doctor, my dentist, definitely my wife. Wait, I know what I want.
Make sparkling water at home and drink 43% more water every day. SodaStream. Love your water.
Take the roar out of snore. Yet another innovation only at a Sleep Number store.
Closed captioning brought to you by non-prescription IB-Guard for irritable bowel syndrome.
Abdominal pain, bloating, you may have IBS. Ask your doctor if non-prescription IB-Guard is right for you. IB-Guard calms the angry gut. Available at CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid.
Election night in America. Don't miss a moment. Watch on air on CNN or online with live streaming at CNN.com or your CNN app. Election night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-898-1341. Again, that's 1-800-898-1341.
Attention, type 2 diabetics. According to the FDA, the drug Invokana may lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. If you or someone you love took Invokana and suffered ketoacidosis, you may be entitled to compensation. Ketoacidosis can cause kidney failure, coma, and even death. Call the law firm of Avram Blair & Associates right now for a free consultation. Call 800-314-3604. That's 800-314-3604.
Financial crisis was some years back. It's still hurting many seniors today. But if you're a homeowner 62 or older, there's a mortgage program that just might make life a little easier. With a reverse mortgage, you can convert your home equity into cash and at the same time eliminate your monthly mortgage payments. You never give up ownership. For your free information kit, call now.
Call 1-800-718-1028.
Election night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
Well, Donald Trump has wrapped up an event in Pensacola, Florida, where he reminded himself to stay on point. Trump has pretty much stuck to the script in recent days. The question is whether his supporters in the all-important Sunshine State appreciate that. Gary Tuchman spoke with Trump fans in Orlando. Take a look.
I got lock her up. We support jail time for Hillary.
The items for sale and the items some people here in Orlando are wearing are an accurate reminder of some of the things Donald Trump has said or alluded to during this campaign.
And as you know,
but as Election Day approaches, Trump appears to be sticking to the script more often.
Do you feel it's a good thing that Donald Trump, over the last few days, has gotten more diplomatic, more disciplined?
I do. Short answer. And a longer answer?
He's getting more refined.
Do you want to see him refined?
I like seeing him more refined like he is now. I like being without teleprompters. He was kind of little bit too much.
So you think it's good that he's mellower?
Yes. I think it's helping him. I think it's bringing in voters that were, I don't know.
But meet Brian Manning, who wore this T-shirt in honor of Trump.
Would it make you happy if Donald Trump said that during this rally today?
It doesn't. What Donald Trump says is the truth. I know a lot of people.
Would it make you
like
happy
that.
if he said that, or do you think that would hurt him in his bid to win the White House?
That wouldn't hurt him, no.
You'd like to see that?
I would like to see that.
Indeed, a major reason many people are spending all this time in the hot Florida sun is they like the fact that Donald Trump says what's on his mind. Critics be damned.
I think he should speak whatever he feels. I like the aggressive part of him, and I think it comes back down to that freedom of speech. Everybody has it, even him as a person.
Many Trump supporters say his freewheeling style has emboldened them. These two women say they would cheer if Trump would read their T-shirts during his rally. We're not reading the front of the shirts because they're too graphic.
And the back says, Trump that bitch.
Okay, now, are you proud to be wearing shirts like that?
Absolutely.
Very.
How come?
I support the man. She's corrupt.
Okay, but that's could be conceived as obscene by a lot of people.
It could be, but not one person in this line has had one issue with it. Can we hear anything? No!
And then there are some people here who say Trump has always been disciplined and on message, and it's Hillary Clinton who hasn't been.
All she does is criticize everybody. I mean, she's just nasty. She's not nice. She hates people. We're deplorable. We're in a basket.
However, almost all of the Trump supporters we talked to here do acknowledge he's had stretches where he's been off message. But there is a prevalent belief here that a President Trump would, in his way, be presidential.
He will be diplomatic, he will be assertive, and he will make America great again.
Gary joins me now. Among the people you talk to who want Trump to stay, off the cuff, not on the teleprompter, do they think he would be off the cuff in the White House if he won the presidency?
Not only are they thinking it, Anderson, they're counting on it. Many of the people at this rally and other rallies believe that if Donald Trump became buttoned down, if he made it to the Oval Office, he would be very similar to the other men and women who he's battled for the nomination and the presidency over the last 17 months. Anderson.
Gary Tuckman. Gary, thanks very much. Back with the panel. Dana, you have some reporting on this?
Well, I'm working on a story on this for tomorrow morning for CNN.com, and to that exact point, I was talking to a source, I talked to several of them, but one of the sources close to Donald Trump, who I spoke with about this today, recall the conversation that they had with Donald Trump about this, one of the many that he had with Donald Trump, begging him to stay on message over the past many, many months. And the response was, I hear you, I get it, but you're wrong, because Trump's told this source that what his people want to hear from him, and what people in general want to hear from him, is being real, and that the way he talks makes him different. He said, even if it means I'm off the mark sometimes.
Well, it is also interesting, Kirsten, because, I mean, he has said, I think in interviews to people, or people have recounted that he has said to them that I mean, he reads a crowd, and he has a very finely tuned antenna of when he's losing a crowd.
He's a performer.
Right,
Yeah.
that he wants to entertain the crowd. I'm not using that in a negative
Well, yeah,
way.
and also that I think that he, in his mind, has a strategy. And so, like when I had interviewed him when he first said he was going to make his pivot, to being presidential, and I said, well, why haven't you been doing it in the primary? And he said, well, that was intentional because I had all these people that I had to beat, and I was one of 17, and there's no way I could break through. So I think that, and Corey can certainly speak to what's in his mind more than I can, but I think that he does seem to have sort of a strategy, and that he feels that he understands what people want. And how to get from A to B in a way that other people don't.
And Corey, I mean, it's always struck me as, particularly early on when you were there, is that it is a strategy that, is it a strategy that he came up with, that he just instinctively knows how he wants to be? I mean, because I don't think anybody writing a political playbook would have said, do this, do this. It seems like a lot of it was just instinct.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think what you've seen for the last almost 2 years of this campaign is Donald Trump has had his finger on the pulse of many people in the electorate who've been disenfranchised with a broken Washington, D.C. And if you think about the issues that he has talked about from the beginning of this campaign, whether it's immigration or bad trade deals or rising debt, right? He has done more as a candidate than most elected officials have done throughout their tenure. He's done more to raise the issue and say, hey, let's go and renegotiate our bad trade deals. Let's talk about TPP, which Hillary Clinton originally said was the gold standard, now has changed her position, said, hey, I don't like that anymore. Let's talk about the problem we have with illegal immigration. It's now at the forefront of the American electorate, which it wasn't prior to Donald Trump coming onto the scene.
No, I just think it reminds me of this skit that Dave Chappelle used to have on the Chappelle Show. It's when keeping it real goes wrong. And what we've done is we've begun to normalize the behavior that Donald Trump has displayed on the campaign trail. And although it riles up his audiences, I think that his audiences were a very small percentage of the electorate. I mean, we're talking about 15, 16 million voters during the Republican primary. Now the goal is to get to 60 to 65 million next week. And so one of the things that we have to be very, very careful about is we don't need someone who keeps it real in the White House. This is about temperament. This is about the person who is going to lead the country. And that's what draws fear from a lot of people, not just Democrats, but from Republicans as well.
But to that argument, a lot of Republicans are coming back to Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of Republicans are coming back to Donald Trump, and the reason being is it has a lot to do with what happened last Friday, and they were reminded about why they dislike Hillary Clinton so much.
But Ari, we don't also want a mannequin candidate. And today, something that was so just interesting to me in the WikiLeaks today is there was a fervent debate back and forth between John Podesta and the Clinton team about whether Hillary Clinton should use the phrase "yo mama" to try to get the black vote back. This is a poll-tested candidate who focus tests, who vigorously debates whether she should use two words. Donald Trump is just himself. He's authentic, he's real, he's believable.
This is what we're normalizing.
And when he was himself when he attacked John McCain as a POW, he was himself when he attacked the Khan family who sacrificed their son for America's freedom. He was himself when he attacked that very lovely Miss Universe. He was himself when he called women all kinds of horrible names. That is the real Donald Trump. We don't see what's in the Trump emails, though, because somehow the cyber terrorism, his campaign does, Kaylee, the cyber terrorism has been exclusively targeting the Democrats.
And
that is because the Russians want Trump to win.
The American public continue to believe Donald Trump is more honest and trustworthy than Hillary Clinton. So for all the things that you've said, the American public, and every poll indicates this, that Hillary Clinton is not as honest and not as trustworthy, and at the end of the day, in the White House, it would be nice to have a person who's honest and trustworthy.
Yeah, but it would be interesting if Republican emails were leaked as well to see how that would impact.
It would be a crime of the same order.
The only person that we know has a direct tie to the Russian government is when Hillary Clinton gave up half our uranium to the Russians. That's a fact, and she approved that as the Secretary of State.
Donald Trump used to say he had a relationship with Vladimir Putin.
Why haven't the Russians
make one point really quick? I mean, what we've done is we've weaponized the media. WikiLeaks, there are stolen emails. We know that the Russian government is interfering in our elections, and for some reason the Trump campaign wants us to believe that they were hacking in alphabetical order and just stopped after Clinton because somehow they ran out of money. But no, I mean, it's tilted. I mean, that is what it is, and it's despicable that we don't have more of a sense of urgency, all of us up here, everyone in the media, that a foreign entity is trying to disrupt our elections.
You know what we've learned about the WikiLeaks? What we have learned is that they have never denied the authenticity of these emails, because if they did, they would put out the emails.
And Donald Trump's never denounced
what we know is that there's a number of people who've been in the media that have been doing something that they shouldn't have been doing that has now been exposed. We see the media bias from multiple reporters who are favoring the Clinton campaign on numerous occasions as a bias to Donald Trump, and that's exposed what is the cabal of the media, and that's what has the American people fired up.
Donald Trump has never, ever spoken out against the fact that a foreign entity is trying to disrupt. That he's running for president of the United States.
Are accurate.
He not only did not speak out.
He's Paul, and then we got to go.
He not only did not speak out. On July 27th, he called a press conference asking of a hostile foreign power to commit cyber terrorism against Americans. That's what Donald Trump did.
Democrat strategy: attack Russia when you're caught.
No, I'm attacking Donald Trump.
I will attack
asking
Russia
for a hostile foreign power to commit crimes against Americans and then benefiting from that crime.
Just ahead, what Clinton and Trump supporters say about the issues when they are alone with two questions, one camera, and no reporter. You'll see that ahead.
Sandals. At last, an all-inclusive that truly includes it all. Sandals, the world's only 5-star luxury included resorts. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
For millions of baby boomers, there's a virus out there A virus that's serious like HIV, but it hasn't been talked about much. A virus that's been almost forgotten. It's hepatitis C. 1 in 30 boomers has Hep C, yet most don't even know it. That's because Hep C can hide in your body silently for years, even decades, without symptoms. And it's not tested for in routine blood work. If left untreated, Hep C can cause liver damage, even liver cancer. But there's important information for us. The CDC recommends all baby boomers get tested for Hep C. All it takes is a simple one-time blood test. And if you have Hep C, it can be cured. Be sure to ask your doctor to get tested for Hep C. For us, it's time to get tested. It's the only way to know for sure.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
And you can tell them to go themselves.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
You got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember.
Election night 2016. Clinton. Trump. Only one team has both sides covered. Watch Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
I was on heroin.
I used crack cocaine. We are the Addiction Network. And if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, you need to call the number on your screen now. Addiction is a disease, and you can't go it alone. The call is free, and so is the consultation. If you have private insurance, your treatment could be covered with no out-of-pocket costs. So call the Addiction Network now.
Call 800-839-9470.
Introducing the Neck Basket, a versatile, economically designed basket that you hang around your neck. The Neck Basket is there when you need it and out of the way when you don't. Now available in 2 convenient sizes. It's like an extra set of hands around your neck.
Wow, that was bad. Wouldn't you like to tell them that? Now you can by becoming an online survey taker at bigspot.com, where people like you get paid to give their opinions on the things they use every day. Visit bigspot.com and start getting paid for your opinions. bigspot.com.
New day, the most news in the morning at a special early time. Tomorrow, 5 Eastern on CNN.
Hillary Clinton will be speaking shortly now in Tempe, Arizona. The fact that Arizona is even a focus in this final stretch is one of the many surprises in this election. Tonight, a new CNN ORC poll shows Donald Trump leading Hillary Clinton by 5 points in Arizona, 49 to 44%. Gary Johnson at 5%, Jill Stein at 1%. Arizona has voted for a Democratic presidential nominee just once in the last 64 years, Bill Clinton, 96, which is to say it is dependably red. But this year, there are signs that it maybe, possibly, could turn blue. Votes are pouring in. Kyung La tonight has more.
Early votes in Arizona now being counted in this glassed-off, secured room in Maricopa County. Every move webcast on multiple cameras to the public. The votes boxed, then sealed. Unofficial early vote totals from Arizona's Secretary of State shows as of today, registered Republicans are outpacing Democrats by 6 percentage points. But in 2012, with 1 week to go, Republicans had an even bigger lead, outpacing Democrats by 10%. Mitt Romney won the state by 9 points. This reliably red state now a battleground because of voters like Luz Gamez, a new U.S. citizen, a new Democrat in Arizona.
With Trump, I don't trust him. You know, I think he's more doing this for fun or for just to be on TV.
Millennials like Nicole Crook also voting blue.
Do you feel the state changing?
I do. I do. I feel a lot of the older people are being a little more liberal and the younger people are having more of a presence.
Across Arizona, early voting isn't just up, it's way up.
Scott Brenner, Christina.
More than half of all projected ballots have already been cast.
Julie Norwood, Chris, Sam Tober.
In primarily Republican Scottsdale, Arizona, early voters are waiting more than an hour.
This is the busiest. We've never seen early voting like we've seen this time.
Never.
Never.
Waiting to vote, Laura White, a lifelong Republican, the face of a changing Arizona.
May I ask, who did you vote for president?
I'm a registered Republican, and I pretty much voted Democratic all the way across. I did. I think Donald Trump is corrupt, and I don't know any other word but to say he's part of the problem.
And we've heard that about Hillary Clinton as well.
Yes, we have.
Even with the latest Clinton email controversy, it's not enough to flip her back to the GOP. The emails did affect Republican Carl Owens, who wrote in independent Evan McMullin for president. He's frankly disgusted with 2016.
Trust factor with Hillary and Trump. Where do I begin?
When you hear that Arizona is in play, that Arizona could go blue, what's your reaction?
My first reaction is makes you nervous.
It should. Robert Graham is Arizona's Republican Party chairman. He's watching the early vote numbers and the smaller GOP spread. Are you concerned about that spread?
I was a week and a half ago. Now I'm not. We had to turn up the volume a little bit to make sure that we really executed on this great operational structure that we have statewide.
Please vote for Donald J. Trump. The state GOP now pulling out all the stops to get out their vote and seeing day-by-day growth in the number of registered Republicans early voting, like Blaine Erskine.
I think it's going to be closer than it ever has been, but I do think that it will stay red.
As far as Hillary Clinton being in Arizona,
and when they're not spending in other states, it gives us opportunity to pick up those other states.
So you're saying she's wasting time and money here?
Absolutely. I would be happy to take her out to lunch and share with her all the reasons why she should probably go somewhere else.
Here's what Arizona's GOP chairman cannot tell us. They know the early vote tally. They know the registered Republicans that they're ahead. They don't know how they voted. Did they cross party lines? Just like the Democrats don't know if registered Democrats are indeed voting for Hillary Clinton. What we can tell you, Anderson, is that everyone we spoke with, they do feel like for the first time ever, Arizona Democrats are in the game. Anderson?
Kyung Lak Young, thanks. As you've probably seen in the campaign coverage, especially Trump events, the mere act of sending a reporter or producer to interview people can cause a stir. Donald Trump routinely calls the press names. Some of his animosity rubs off on supporters. It all makes getting unvarnished thoughts from voters that much harder, which is why we tried the following kind of eye-opening experiment at Trump and Clinton campaign stops in North Carolina recently. Set up a camera, hand people some written questions, then leave them alone. Here's how it played out. The format was simple, a microphone and 2 questions. Why are you supporting Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? And why is it important that he or she win? We handed them a sheet of paper with the questions and got out of the way. Our first stop outside a Donald Trump rally in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's important for him to win because not only was he going to make the country great again, but the other alternative, Hillary Clinton, she's corrupt and she really shouldn't be running for president. She should probably be in jail.
Why is it important for him to win? We're killing far too many babies, and he certainly is against killing babies. That's one reason I support him.
It's important for him to win because if he loses this election, our country's done. We'll never get it back.
I support Donald Trump for president because America needs a boss. President Trump is going to fire people who don't do their jobs.
If Hillary Clinton is elected, she will continue the same path we've been on for the past 8 years. We're already circling the drain, and I believe she will take us all the way down.
Donald Trump is going to change America, not like Obama said he would. He's going to actually change it and change it good. Obama changed it all right, and he changed it for the worse.
We just got to get Donald Trump in there to make sure that we have a good Supreme Court, that we defend the Second Amendment, and that we make sure we don't have terrorists coming in the United States.
Our next stop, a Hillary Clinton rally at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the same 2 questions. Why are you supporting Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? And why is it important that he or she win?
I'm supporting Hillary Clinton for the president of the United States because I think it's important that we have a president that's going to support all of our families, all of our children, and every citizen of the United States, and not make the country more divided than it is.
Truly, she is the only and the best choice. Not only do we have a lot of stuff on the line right now, jobs on the line, voting rights on the line, criminal justice reform is on the line, and Hillary Clinton is the only person that is going to make sure that we have a future.
We need someone in the White House who knows what they're doing. Hillary's the best person
between the two candidates to do that. She qualified with all of her 30 years of experience, and it will be good for the country.
I am a feminist, and I believe she is too, and it would be such an honor to see a female in the White House.
People my generation and younger deserve a female role model that proves that anyone can be president.
It's important that Hillary win for the integrity of our country, for our citizens, and to continue the progress of the Obama administration, and for our reputation throughout the world.
We also think that there's just no comparison between Hillary and the Republican nominee. He's a megalomaniac and has proved to be a complete nightmare.
Pretty interesting insight into what both Trump and Clinton supporters are thinking without any reporters present. We heard from dozens more voters. If you want to watch all of them, those clips will be online tomorrow at cnn.com/AC360. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new Publishers Clearinghouse Winner's Choice Prize. Win and the choice is yours. $10,000 a week for life or $10 million all at once. Enter at PCH.com and December 23rd, the choice could be yours.
You can count on all kinds of challenges when you have your own business. But thanks to Square, you can accept credit cards like this, and like this. You can count on clear pricing for every major credit card because Square has no surprise fees. You get deposits as soon as the next business day and easy-to-read sales reports to help you grow your business. You can rely on support for any questions, but you shouldn't really have to because our stuff's pretty reliable. You can count on it. Get started free at square.com.
Who says I shouldn't have a soda every day? My doctor, my dentist, definitely my wife. Wait, I know what I want.
Make sparkling water at home and drink 43% more water every day. SodaStream. Love your water.
You can't live in the past. The wins and the losses, the joy, the drama, the what ifs and should haves. All that means zero now. We all start from zero. This is why we play.
And at Progressive, we let you compare our Progressive Direct rate.
Great deals for reals.
And our competitors' rates side by side, so you know you're getting a great deal.
Saving the moolah.
As you can see, sometimes Progressive isn't the lowest.
Not always the lowest.
Jamie, what are you doing?
I'm being your hype man. We said I was going to be the hype man.
No, we said we wouldn't do it. I'm sorry, we were talking about savings.
I liked his way.
Cha-ching! Talking about getting that money. Talking about getting that money.
Savings worth the hype. Now that's Progressive.
For a night like no other, you need a network like no other. Why trust this night to anyone else? Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
10 everyday heroes doing extraordinary things. Vote now for the CNN Hero of the Year at CNNHeroes.com on Twitter and Facebook Messenger.
Taking the bus with groceries and my kids. I have a car, but it's either feed them or pay for insurance. They won.
Need car insurance? Get covered for as little as $20 down with Good to Go auto insurance. That's right. As little as $20 gets you started. Then you pay as you go in easy monthly installments. Sound good? Call or go online and get a free rate quote in under a minute. There's no obligation. If you like our price, get proof of insurance on the spot. It's fast, easy, and cheap because you buy just what you need to get legal and on the road again. Why wait? Call or visit goodtogo.com now. Get Good to Go auto insurance and get where you're going on your own.
Call 1-800-828-9988 or visit goodtogo.com for a quick rate quote now. That's 1-800-828-9988. There's no obligation. 1-800-828-9988.
Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
Before we go, a quick programming note about Tuesday. We'll be on basically wall-to-wall, bringing you late election coverage. Tuesday, Election Day, all day, right here on CNN. That does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. CNN Tonight with Don Lemon starts right now.
This is CNN Breaking News.
There is breaking news, and it's our new polls with good news for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, as Clinton is about to speak live in the battleground state of Arizona. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. We're going to keep an eye on that for you. Hillary Clinton still leading nationally, but with the race tight in crucial states, it's a whole new Donald Trump tonight in Florida.
We've got to be nice and cool, nice and cool. Right, stay on point, Donald, stay on point. No sidetracks, Donald, nice and easy, nice.
President Barack Obama stomping for Hillary Clinton in North Carolina and pointing the finger at Trump's campaign for what he charges is voter suppression.
Don't fall for the easy cynicism that says my vote doesn't matter, or all politicians are the same. It does matter, and they're not all the same. That's what Hillary's opponent wants you to think, because they don't want you to vote. And I've got to say, he has been getting help from Republican politicians in this state who've been trying to keep you from voting.
CNN's Dana Bash and Mark Preston and John King are all here this evening. It's the Power Team, everyone. We're going to begin with the powerhouse, John King. So let's start, John. A lot of new polls out today. Give us a snapshot. If the election were held today, what would happen? What's the best case scenario for Hillary Clinton and her path to 270?
The bottom line is still advantage Clinton, Don, but Donald Trump is back in the hunt, and we couldn't say that last week, so there is a significant change. As I go through the polls, I want to switch. We'll fill this one in on Tuesday night. I just want to go back for historical reference to the 2012 map, and let's go through some of our new polling. Let's start where Hillary Clinton is tonight in Arizona, a state won by Mitt Romney by 9 points 4 years ago. Donald Trump right now has a 5-point lead. That's a switch. Other public polling a week or so ago had Hillary Clinton up. Don't believe any one poll, but it looks like Donald Trump now has an advantage and some momentum out in Arizona. In neighboring Nevada, this one's a bit of a surprise. This was a blue state for Obama twice. Look at our new numbers out in Nevada tonight. A 6-point lead for Donald Trump. That is a surprise in this campaign in the sense that Hillary Clinton has thought all along the Latino population would deliver Nevada, but Trump with an advantage as we go to the end. Let's finish up with our CNN poll, and then I'll show you some others. The Sunshine State of Florida, Don, it was the closest state in 2012 between Obama and Romney, 50-49. Guess what? Looks like it's going to go down to the wire again. 49 for Clinton, 47 for Trump among likely voters. That's an advantage for Clinton, but really it's a statistical tie. Florida going down to the end. One more, and this is a bit of a surprise. Pennsylvania has not voted Republican for president since 1988. Right now, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat, is ahead, but only by 4 points. And you see, if you want to go back here and look, you see it was a bigger spread between Obama and Romney 4 years ago. So this is a bit of a warning sign to the Clinton campaign. Still ahead, but keep that on the watch list. A couple other quick ones I want to get to from other organizations. Let me pull it out in here. Number one, good news for Donald Trump. Quinnipiac University has him up 5 in Ohio, a state he has to win. Hillary Clinton up 3 in North Carolina. Again, that's a very close battleground state. It's going to go to the end. And Hillary Clinton up 6 in Wisconsin. That's about where that was 4 years ago. It's a smaller lead than she's had recently, Don, but still a healthy lead for Clinton there. One more I want to bring in. Broke late tonight. We don't have the graphics for it, but Colorado. There's one poll out in Colorado tonight showing this one a tie. That would be a big surprise. We'll see if other data backs that up, but Colorado a tie would be a big surprise. That's a lot to digest, I know. 8 polls I just went through, so let me help you do it this way. This is where we have the race right now. 272 for Clinton, takes 270 to win, 179 for Trump. Let's go through what we just did, right? Let me tap here and come here. Donald Trump's leading in Nevada, if he can keep that. Donald Trump leading in Arizona, if he can keep that. Donald Trump leading in Ohio, if he can keep that. That would get him up to 215. This is hypothetical now, Don, but logical to think if Donald Trump is building his support back up in the West, maybe he's building it up enough to get past that never-Trump conservative Evan McMullin in Utah. We still have it as a toss-up, but for the sake of this conversation, let's give it to Donald Trump. Look where that gets him, to 220, which is why we're going to go into the final days of this campaign talking a lot, Don, about these two right here, Florida and North Carolina. If Hillary Clinton can win one of those two or both of those two, Donald Trump may have momentum at the end, but not enough. Game over. If Donald Trump can turn those red, then we got a horse race.
My head is spinning, John King. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
It is. So let's talk about this blue firewall for Hillary Clinton. I think Pennsylvania is one of them because Trump campaigned in Wisconsin yesterday, but she is maintaining her lead there, correct?
She is, but she's also pouring a lot of money in TV ads back into Wisconsin, back into Michigan, more money into Pennsylvania. Why does that blue firewall, as we call it, work? Let's go back to this map again. Assuming Donald Trump holds Ohio, he's ahead in Iowa. I'm giving him Utah there, and Nevada and Arizona. They're by no means over. The Clinton campaign thinks it can work early voting, thinks it can get Nevada. She's in Arizona tonight because she thinks it's very close. But for the sake of this argument, let's say Trump does have this momentum. Why does the blue wall matter? Well, let's say Donald Trump gets Florida. That's 249. Let's say Donald Trump gets North Carolina. Don, that's 264. 264, and he's knocking on the door. I didn't mean to rhyme, but there it is for you, which means if he wins any of these blues, if he's at 264, the only one that wouldn't get him to the finish line is Little New Hampshire, but that would get him to a 268 tie. And guess what? One congressional district in Nebraska and one congressional district in Maine, not in this math, they could decide the race. I'm not saying it's that close right now. We have no indication it's that close right now, but that is why Hillary Clinton, let me reset the map to where we had it, that is why Hillary Clinton is going to spend time and money here, time and money here, time and money here, time and money here, and a lot of people think even Virginia could be back in play, and Colorado. She has to defend the blues. If Donald Trump can't change a blue, all the momentum in the world won't get him to the finish line.
You just have a lot of frayed nerves out there listening to you, John. We love you, but my gosh, it's going to be a nail-biter. So, Mark, you just heard from John King. So walk us through the electoral map. You heard about this race tightening, because you've been at this electoral map for the last night or so for us. But Trump's path to 270 is still an uphill climb. Who has the momentum and the voter enthusiasm right now? Because that's going to be key here.
Well, the perception right now is that Donald Trump has it, but again, that's the perception. We don't necessarily know if those wins are strong enough to carry him through. I mean, I think probably one of the most important things, as John had said on that map right there in Trump's path to 270, is that he's got to win Florida, he's got to win North Carolina, he's got to win Ohio, he's got to win these big states before he even gets into blue territory. But he is seeing some signs of life that, again, we didn't see a week ago. The fact of the matter is, if the race is tightening up in Colorado, you have to wonder, is it going to then tighten up in North Carolina? There's a lot of correlation between the voters in Colorado and North Carolina, in the sense that you have a high-educated white voter perspective there, and certainly an electorate there. So could we see some changes in North Carolina? We'll have to see. But there's certainly a little bit of wind behind Donald Trump's back, but the path is still difficult, Don.
So, Mark, also Hillary Clinton releasing new ads targeting Latinos, targeting African Americans. You also have President Barack Obama sounding the alarm to black voters. You heard him today, and he's going to be out there until, Election Day. Are there enough Hispanic voters for her to build a new coalition and to make up some of the ground that she may be losing with black voters?
Well, we do know that the black vote is not turning out as strongly as we have seen back in 2012, 2008, but we shouldn't be surprised. Barack Obama was the first African-American president, but that's why we see him on the campaign trail, North Carolina.
And that's unrealistic to think that the black vote's going to be the same in 2008 and 2020.
No, it's absolutely unrealistic to to think that it would be the same. But the fact of the matter is, Hillary Clinton doesn't get to the White House without strong support from African Americans. And again, that's why we'll see Barack Obama in North Carolina today. He'll be in Florida tomorrow for a couple stops. Then he's going back to North Carolina as well. And just to add to that, Don, just in the past few hours, we see a Get Out the Vote participation rally that Stevie Wonder is going to do on behalf of Hillary Clinton in Pennsylvania. Hillary Clinton's going to be in North Carolina tomorrow with Pharrell, the musician. We see Bill Clinton out in Las Vegas trying to work the Hispanic vote out there. So in order for her to win and win safely, she needs to keep this Obama coalition together.
All right. Now to the third member of our trifecta here, and that is Ms. Dana Bash. Dana, Donald Trump held 3 campaign rallies today. Let's take a look.
It's feeling like it already, isn't it? Just, we've got to be nice and cool, nice and cool. All right, stay on point, Donald, stay on point. No sidetracks, Donald, nice and easy, nice. Because I've been watching Hillary the last few days. She's totally unhinged. We don't want any of that. She has become unhinged.
Dana, you have some new reporting on the new, more disciplined, nice and easy Donald Trump. What are you hearing?
Well, first of all, let's just take a second to process what we just heard. Mr. Trump, that was your outside voice, not your inside voice. You're actually at a rally speaking to thousands of people. But it really, I thought that was such a window into where Donald Trump's headspace is right now, which is trying so hard to keep control, doing it successfully, more so than he has pretty much at any point in his campaign, to not veer off message, to not become the story, because when he becomes the story in the general election, it tends to be bad for Donald Trump. He has a good message, whether it's the new Clinton FBI news, or before that, maybe even better substance-wise, the news that Obama premiums have spiked. So the fact of the matter is he clearly understands that this seems to be working for him. I've been talking to a lot of sources around him trying to figure out why finally he's getting it. A lot of different answers. One is just the calendar. He sees the finish line. He sees that it's almost done. One source said, you know, he's a closer and he wants to close big. He does feel the wind at his back. He feels that there's momentum that he clearly hasn't had for many, many weeks when there was a lot of bad news about his campaign. And the fact that he actually is more self-aware than you would think. I was hearing that from sources, and we just saw that on the stage today, him saying point blank that he needs to keep himself cool and calm and read the teleprompter. I should also say, as I'm tossing back to you, I was told that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who has been very instrumental behind the scenes, he's been on the plane traveling with Donald Trump a lot more recently. So it's also the company that he's keeping, trying to keep him in check.
Whose day is it to watch Donald Trump? That's hilarious. Okay, we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton because, you know, people have counted her out before and to their dismay. So we'll discuss that coming up after the break. John King, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us this evening. And Dana and Mark, please stick around. We come right back. Melania Trump giving her first major speech on the campaign trail tomorrow. Will she win her husband any votes?
You became aware of his second personality, Jackie Black.
Do you really still not see what dangerous ground this is? Or is that what you like about it?
How's yours, Mom?
Ask your dad. Now at Ruby Tuesday for just $12.99, enjoy a favorite entree, 2 sides, endless garden bar, plus your choice of dessert, and some of theirs. 3 courses, just $12.99, only at Ruby Tuesday.
Tokyo-style ramen noodles. Fresh ingredients, step-by-step recipes, delivered to your door for less than $9 a meal. Get $30 off your first delivery at blueapron.com/cook.
Real milk has 8 times more protein than almond milk. Real milk has naturally occurring calcium, but almond milk doesn't. Oh, and now Real Milk's got as many almonds as almond milk. Almond milk has only 2% almonds. What's in the other 98%?
Max out your strength, max out your cardio, max out your endurance with Maxi Climber, the calorie-burning, fat-blasting workout with muscle toning. Maxi Climb your way to lean, sexy legs, rock-hard abs, firm glutes, and toned biceps and triceps. Lose weight and burn more calories faster with Maxi Climber than virtually any other cardio machine. Max out your health with Maxi Climber. Try Maxi Climber today, now available at participating retailers.
I'm here in Bristol, Virginia, and now I'm in Bristol, Tennessee. On this side of the road is Virginia, and on this side it's Tennessee. No matter which state in the country you live in, you could save hundreds on car insurance by switching to Geico. Look, I'm in Virginia. I'm in Tennessee. Virginia, Tennessee. And now I'm in, Virginia.
See how much you could save on car insurance.
Or am I in Tennessee?
From Logic comes Logic Pro, the electronic vaporizer with pre-filled smart capsules. With the great satisfying Logic taste and long-lasting battery. But most of all, no mess, no fuss, no spill. Logic Pro with smart capsules. Logic. It's that simple.
There's a movement building in America. Everyday people stand united, ready to replace decades of broken politics with a new leader who's not a part of the system. Donald Trump. His plan? Lower taxes. Families get child care tax credits. Law and order balanced with justice and fairness. And America is respected in the world again. This is our country. We can change directions and make America great again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Trump, Clinton, from the primaries to the conventions.
I accept your nomination.
I accept your nomination.
To the final debates. It's all been leading up to this night. For a night like no other, you need a network like no other. Why trust this night to anyone else? Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
There's 6 days until Election Day, and the polls are showing a tight race. Hillary Clinton getting help in a crucial state from the commander-in-chief. Back with me now, Dana Bash and Mark Preston. Okay, so President Barack Obama was in North Carolina today, campaigning hard for Hillary Clinton. Listen.
Keep in mind, North Carolina, all the progress that we've made over the last 8 years, all the progress we hope to make over the next 8 years, all of that goes out the window if we don't win this election. And we don't win this election, potentially, if we don't win North Carolina. So, I hate to put a little pressure on you, but the fate of the republic rests on your shoulders. The fate of the world is teetering, and you, North Carolina, are going to have to make sure that we push it in the right direction.
So, Dana, the fate of the world is teetering on North Carolina. I mean, I was watching today going, oh, that's no pressure for North Carolinians. He knows his legacy is on the line here.
Yeah, not too much hyperbole there, but you're exactly right. It is about his legacy, and he is making it extraordinarily personal. We saw him do it a few weeks back for the first time when he was speaking to the Congressional Black Caucus, very out there and very blunt, saying this isn't, you know, if you're worried about Hillary Clinton, if you're not really sure if she's the right person for you, we've got questions, don't make it about her, make it about me. And he's doing that not just on the stump as you just played, he's doing it on black radio and elsewhere to make his point extremely clear because of the fact that the African-American vote in the key states like North Carolina, Florida too, is down. Now, is expected to be down with Barack Obama not on the ticket. It was extraordinarily high when the African-American community was voting for, at first, the first black president and then to re-elect him. That's understandable, and the Hillary Clinton people argue that she has a different coalition. That might be, but it's still alarmingly down to the point where you have the president going out and having a very, very direct tone and message to people about why they need to go vote.
Hey, Dana, before I get back to Mark, Dana, I want to ask you another question. We also heard that the president break his silence on the FBI email probe warning against leaks and innuendo. What's your take on that?
The whole thing is just, the world is just upside down. It just is. It's highly unusual for the FBI director. It's unprecedented. He broke guidelines, all the things that we've been talking about for several days, to send the letter that he did just days before the election, announcing that he's sort of reopening an investigation into a candidate. It's also highly unusual for the President of the United States to comment on an open FBI investigation, as he's done now. He tried to kind of walk the line and say, you know, I don't want to comment on it, but it's not good to have innuendo out there, you know, but he did. And it just shows how worried Democrats are about that very thing, innuendo, about the fact that it is so murky that it leaves the door open, which Republicans and Donald Trump leading the band have walked right through, to paint this as proof that Hillary Clinton is a criminal, which obviously there is no evidence that that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Mark, both campaigns bought last minute ads, I should say, for tonight's Game 7 World Series game. I mean, they aren't messing around because those ads are expensive.
Yeah, but you don't want to leave any money on the table, right? Because leaving money on the table on the day after the election and you turn around and said, had we just maybe gone that final push. Had we just try to buy those ads, could we perhaps be persuaded enough voters in a couple states to come our way? I mean, that's why you're seeing it. And quite frankly, they have the money, right? Donald Trump, his net worth allows him to spend as much money as he wants on the campaign. And of course, Hillary Clinton has been a very prestigious fundraiser, and she has the money as well. So, money well spent for both of them tonight, because what you don't want to do is end up with money afterwards and say, why didn't we use it?
Yeah. Well, the Clinton campaign is also now out with TV ads in Colorado and New Mexico and Virginia and in Michigan. Is this a sign that they're worried, or is this typical a week before Election Day? Not really. I mean, it's closer than that.
Well, look, there's no doubt they're worried. I mean, they have to be worried. Let's put it this way. If they're not worried, then they're not running a very good campaign. We always knew the race was going to tighten. I think we're surprised about where it is tightening, quite frankly. And I think that we were all surprised, if we can have any surprises catch us off guard, by what Director Comey did on Friday by reopening the investigation into the email server and seizing the laptop and going in and looking at Huma Abedin's emails. But the bottom line is that they have to go into those blue states because they need to create that blue firewall that John was talking about last segment. If Donald Trump is able to start to eat away in those states, and he's able to pick up one of those states, that's crucial, because what that means is very likely that if Donald Trump is gaining ground in a Democratic state, well, then he must be doing well in a state such as Florida as well. I mean, it was just reason to gather that the voters in both states would start to be trending towards Donald Trump. So they have to go on the air.
So for the first time since the convention, really, I mean, we saw an interview with Melania Trump, Dana, we're going to see Melania Trump giving a speech.
That's right. And not accidentally in the suburbs of Philadelphia, the place where campaigns, presidential elections have historically been won or lost, primarily because of the fact that they're swing voters, but even more so because of the suburban women vote. That's clearly the target. She's going to go there. She's going to make the case and try to lure people back, potentially, who Donald Trump lost with the Access Hollywood tape and then allegations of groping, to have his wife go in and say, I'm with him, you should be with him too, to people who might have more Republican sensibilities. And more importantly, I was actually in the Philly suburbs a couple of weeks ago for registered Republicans who just can't stand Hillary Clinton, to push them over the line to go for Donald Trump.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. See you guys up until Election Day and after. All right, so make sure you stay with CNN for all-day coverage on Election Day. That's next Tuesday, of course. And straight ahead in this broadcast, is there an effort to suppress the black vote in North Carolina? Even President Obama is blasting laws, he says, that are designed to keep African Americans from casting ballots. We're going to talk about it next.
You must want things, but you just want them. You don't take them.
You've had a choice at every turn, and now you're living the consequences.
The more you know, the more you're in. I'd say I'm pretty damn deep in already.
I could tell right away ZipRecruiter was going to make hiring a lot easier.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/NewsTV.
When you've got nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Here's Pepto-Bismol. Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
You have a vision. It's behind everything you do. Even when you least expect it, it comes through. You know what you want, and we can help make it real. You need choices? We've got all kinds, including special finishes and papers. And they're all absolutely guaranteed. Because you have a vision, and we have your card. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter BC500 at Vistaprint.com.
I love
of Ebates. I have made $511.34.
It's the easiest thing. You shop and you get money. There's no hassles, no gimmicks, nothing.
Join today and get a $10 bonus at ebates.com.
If you're a homeowner, you need to know about Home Advisor. It's a totally free service that connects you with top-rated home pros. You can even compare prices and book an appointment right online. So start your next project at homeadvisor.com.
Election night in America. Don't miss a moment. Watch on air on CNN or online with live streaming at CNN.com or your CNN app. Election night in America. Tuesday on CNN.
Are you in hot water with the IRS? Do you have an old tax debt that keeps growing and growing? Do you want to end the harassing calls, letters, and threats? StopIRSDebt.com is the trusted, affordable way thousands have resolved and lowered millions in tax debt.
StopIRSDebt.com was fantastic. They got my bank account unfrozen. They took care of everything for me. It's incredible. They did a wonderful job for me.
I reached out to Stop IRS Debt. They took over, they lifted my bank levy, and they got the IRS off my back.
Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Our tax professionals can negotiate audits, garnishments, payroll tax, unfiled returns, settlements, and stop your IRS debt.
They are absolutely awesome. I am relaxed and at ease. They are the best.
Stop IRS collections and resolve your tax debt. Call 800-409-0493 or go to StopIRSDebt.com.
Election night in America. Tuesday on CNN.
All right, this next story is very important, so I want you to pay attention because there are serious allegations tonight over voter suppression in North Carolina. Claims that restrictive voting laws are really designed to keep African Americans from casting their ballots. President Barack Obama agrees. Here to discuss, Irving Joyner. He's a professor at North Carolina Central University School of Law. Thank you so much, Professor. You know, we hear a lot about voter fraud. Is this the real voter fraud?
Voter suppression is the name of the game in North Carolina, and we've been fighting it. We spent the entire day today in the Middle District Federal Court dealing with just that issue.
You filed the NAACP, the North Carolina NAACP filed a lawsuit against North Carolina Republicans demanding they put an immediate stop to what you say is a coordinated effort to suppress black voters in that state. And again, as you said, you were in court. So take us from there. Tell us what happened. Tell me about this lawsuit and what happened in court.
Well, what we dealt with were 3 counties in North Carolina, Beaufort, Cumberland, and Moore County, in which efforts were made to purge African-American voters from the voting list. And we had evidence that postcards were sent to the addresses of roughly 7,000 people in those 3 counties. And as a result of the return postcards that were received back by the Voter Integrity Project, they had the county boards of elections to remove those individuals from the voting polls. And so we went into court to halt that effort, and I think that we are going to succeed.
So explain the voter card thing. In North Carolina, what happens if you don't return the card? Why is that? How were they purged?
Well, the notion was that if the card was sent to the voter's address and it came back, it meant that the person didn't live at that address or in that particular precinct. And in North Carolina, the return letter is prima facie evidence that the person doesn't live at that address, and then it can be used to challenge that person's right to vote. Of course, it doesn't take into consideration about 1,500 different reasons why a piece of mail would be returned, plus the fact that people are allowed to move from place to place as long as they are still in the county, then they are eligible to vote.
Yeah, and that was...
that is That's the factual issue that we were dealing with.
And that involved canceling voter registration for over 4,000 mostly African-American Democratic residents, and that was just a week before this presidential election. President Barack Obama, Dr. Joyner, was in North Carolina today, and he spoke about voter suppression efforts in the state. He became visibly angry while speaking about Grace Bell Hardison. Let's listen.
Grace Bell Hardison, 100 years old. Imagine what she's seen in the arc of her life. Born at a time where there are barely cars on the road, no planes in the sky. Think about everything she's seen. A great-grandmother, probably a great-great-grandmother. How are we going to let, after all she's been through, folks disrespect her like that? How are we going to betray all those who worked so hard, risked everything for the vote so that we could pull the lever, and we're not going to vote? What's our excuse?
So explain what happened with Grace Bell Hardison.
Well, she was one of the persons that the postcard was sent to. Her postcard came back. She had a street address and she had a mail address. And the card went back to the Voter Integrity Project people. They went to the Board of Elections in Beaufort County and presented that as evidence that she didn't live there. So she was placed on a list to be purged. But by some chance, her nephew, Greg, was able to find out about this effort and then contact the NAACP and contact the Board of Elections, and we then engaged in a hurry-up effort to challenge what it was that they were attempting to do by showing that she still lived at that address, and then they, as a result, they dropped her from the purge list.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned her nephew, Greg. So I want you to stand by, Doctor, because Greg Satterthwaite is on the phone right now. He's a nephew of the 100-year-old voter, Grace Bell Hardison. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. So your aunt received a letter saying that her voter registration was being challenged. How did she react, and what did you do?
Well, she was really hurt. All she could say was, "I can't vote. I can't vote. Greg, I can't vote." And at that time, it really hurt me because she was really about to cry when she was saying it. And what I did is I reassured her that we would get it taken care of some kind of way. At the time, I didn't know what she had to do, but I knew it was wrong because she's been registered voter all her life, basically, and she's been voting there for years. So that's when I contacted the NAACP and went to the Board of Elections, and they gave us three options. Either you had to come to a hearing, you had to get a notarized letter form, or she could form signed, or she had to have a family member represent her at the hearing.
Greg, do you think that this was planned? I mean, do you think that people were specifically targeted here?
Yes, I do, especially being in Belhaven. We've been fighting to reopen our hospital, and the people that's behind us are all Republicans. And in order to win any election in Belhaven, you have to have the black vote. If you don't have the black vote, you won't win anything. And during this past election, it was really, really close. So right now, if you eliminate some of the black votes, then you could probably take over and get in who you want.
So you were able to resolve this. How were you able to resolve it?
Well, with the help of NAACP sending a letter, and they pretty much went back to the person that challenged her, and he withdrew the challenge on Grace.
Okay. So what about others in the community who are also, what happened to them? Have they had the same thing happen to them?
Yeah, basically what we did, we got a few advocates in the area, and we got the same list that they had, and we went through each and every person's name, and we identified that who we knew for sure actually lived in Belhaven, was registered and voted, and the ones who don't live here, and we took the list to the Board of Elections, Beaufort County Board of Elections, and they worked with us to get most of those names cleared.
Yeah.
And the ones that we didn't get cleared, unfortunately, they got purged.
What was your aunt's reaction?
Well, now she's happy. She understands she can vote, but she's asking now, "You sure I can vote? You sure I can vote?" And I say, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can."
Greg, stand by. Thank you very much for that. I want to bring back in Professor Irving Joyner. So You heard what he had to say. In 2012, Guilford County, North Carolina, where more than a third of the residents are African American, had 16 early voting locations. This year, the Republican-controlled election board opened only one polling site for early voting, and the site was open 2 fewer days that first week. Could this explain in part why early voting numbers among black people have been lower?
Yes, that's a part of the problem. The first 7 days, there were a reduced number of polling sites available. And then you have to remember that we had the floods in the eastern part of North Carolina, and that is where a vast majority of African Americans in the state reside. So many of them were underwater. Some of the polling places were shut down as a result of the floods, and that obviously had some impact on the turnout. So we are still trying to beat the bushes to repair that situation and get people to the polls so that they can exercise their right. People are eager to vote, and we want to make sure that every opportunity is available for them to do so.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate it. And Greg, give our best to your aunt as well. You know, we hear so much about voter fraud and about rigged systems. Well, this is one way that the system may be rigged that we don't discuss so much, but it is also very important to do so. We'll be right back.
Crystal Cruises continues to be the world's most awarded luxury cruise line for over 22 years, and not just a one-hit wonder. We've crafted an all-inclusive, truly exclusive travel experience that's in a class by itself. With ships that are more luxurious than the world's most upscale hotels, featuring elegant suites with butler service, glorious spas, open spaces, fabulous casinos, and exceptional dining. Iconic itineraries with overnight stays, curated as only Crystal Cruises can, and unique tours ashore, tailored to your personal style. Crystal shows you and your family the world, with voyages ranging from 5 nights to 128 nights to all 7 continents. Take your next journey with Crystal Cruises, where all-inclusive is all-exclusive.
The #1 reason people don't work out is time. So we've developed a way to burn more calories in as little as 14 minutes. The Bowflex Max Trainer is the full-body breakthrough cardio machine that combines the easy, low-impact motion of an elliptical with the calorie-burning power of a stepper.
In 14 minutes, I burned 250 calories. That's unbelievable. I lost 13 pounds in 10 weeks. I am in the best shape of my life.
Instead of an exhausting, high-intensity workout, Max alternates long periods of rest with short bursts of effort, and the interactive console makes it easy, setting clear targets that motivate you to do more.
You pushed really hard and then pinned the needle, so it was a game, and I beat my last round. I lost 14 pounds in 10 weeks. I've never felt this energetic.
I lost 10 pounds in 10 weeks. I got ripped with the Max Trainer.
To learn about great deals like special financing for 18 months, call or go to ordermaxtrainer.com for your free info kit, and you'll receive an offer for free shipping. That's ordermaxtrainer.com.
I am totally blind. I lost my sight in Afghanistan.
If you're totally blind, you may also be struggling with non-24. Call 844-844-2424 or visit my24info.com.
Election night 2016. Clinton. Trump. Only one team has both sides covered. Watch Election Night in America, Tuesday on CNN.
A message from the Pulaski Law Firm. You started there right out of high school, learned your trade and did it well. And the asbestos you handled, well, that was just part of the job. If you worked in the trades and were diagnosed with mesothelioma, get the best care available. Then call us. You may be entitled to financial compensation without ever going to court.
Call 800-229-2408
and see how we can help. Mesothelioma. Don't fight it alone.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now at 800-828-1109 to see if you qualify for a cash award. That's 800-828-1109.
The most news in the morning at a special early time. Tomorrow, 5 Eastern on CNN.
An ugly election getting even uglier tonight with allegations of voter suppression here to discuss. Now, Simone Sanders, a former national press secretary to Bernie Sanders. Calvin Tucker, the chairman of Pennsylvania Black Republican Council. He is supporting Donald Trump. Stacey Washington, host of the radio show Stacey on the Right. And Bakari Seller, senior political commentator and Clinton supporter. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Calvin, we just heard about the NAACP lawsuit in North Carolina alleging voter suppression. The suit alleges that African-American voters are unfairly targeted. What's your response?
Well, look, I'm appalled by voter suppression or voter fraud anywhere across this country. Anytime we have, fought through all of the wars just to get the right to vote, starting in 1870 to the 1965 Voting Rights Act, everyone certainly is entitled to cast their ballot, and we ought to come out and vote, regardless of, what legal means or not that's being bestowed against us. So again, as I stated before, I'm appalled by, the allegations of voter suppression and voter fraud.
So if Republican officials are moving early voting places farther from black people, decreasing the number of sites, canceling registrations of black voters, does that sound like rigging of the system to you? Isn't that exactly what Donald Trump has been claiming is going on?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that people must come out and vote regardless of early voting or not. I mean, some states don't have. Pennsylvania, we don't have early voting. We do have absentee ballot.
That may indeed be the case, but that wasn't my question. I said, if they're doing those things, isn't that exactly what Donald Trump claimed, the rigging of the system that's going on? That is part of the rigging.
Well, that's probably part of it's part of the process. Yeah, it's part of the rigging system.
Okay.
But again, we have to prove those things in court. I did hear the earlier panel, and I'm saddened by certain events that happened to the 100-year-old lady, and those things should not exist. But again, mistakes are made every day in this process.
Yeah. So you're down in the Carolinas, Bakari Seller. So talk to me about that. You're in South Carolina, but this one is in North Carolina.
Well,
but go ahead.
This isn't an allegation. This isn't some accident. This isn't some mistake in the process. The North Carolina legislature, under the leadership of Pat McCrory, who has been an awful governor, who I hope and I believe he will lose next Tuesday, I think the court said were surgical in their precision in the way that they discriminated against African Americans. I mean, they literally cut back in Guilford County, they cut back the number of early voting sites from 13, I believe, to 1. The courts have taken a stand on this and said that this was outright discrimination in 2016. I mean, look, I said it earlier and it bears repeating. I mean, in 1960, 61, 62, they had the water hoses and the dogs out, and now they just have the votes of the General Assembly and legislature. And that cannot be tolerated, and that's so unfortunate that we're having a conversation about suppression, and we have a black president in 2016.
So I'm going to give this to you as well, Stacey. If you're any sort of effort to suppress a vote, is that not indeed part of a rigged system?
I don't see a correlation between Donald Trump calling out what he sees as a rigged system and the way he was talking about it and what you're discussing. Now, the guest that you had on before, that's absolutely atrocious, and I expect to see justice served there. As far as the rest of it, if those are allegations, then we have to wait for investigations to be completed so that we know what's going on. I do not believe in suppressing votes.
They're not allegations.
Yeah,
no, the court has already ruled.
Yeah, the court ruled, but go ahead.
The court already ruled on this. This is not allegations. The court said that they were surgical in their precision in the way they discriminated against African Americans. This is a Republican legislature led by a Republican governor, and if we can say the system is rigged by something false that Donald Trump says, but you can't say the system is rigged when then what are we talking about?
Absolutely not. Sorry, Bakari. So look, that's not what I said. I'm not saying that if they've already adjudicated that there was something going on, obviously, then that's what happened. So that's what happened. In the case of what Donald Trump is talking about, there's no way you can deny the Project Veritas videos that show that
there is a way you can deny those videos.
Sure, Simone, there is a way that you can deny it.
Simone, let her finish, and I promise you'll get the next word. Go ahead.
Those videos are verified. They show officials talking about busing people all over town to vote multiple times, and that's the rigging that Donald Trump is talking about.
Simone?
So those are two different things. If you want to refer to that as rigged, what they found and these wrong behaviors, then absolutely, if that's a characterization that you're comfortable with, fine.
Okay.
It's been investigated.
Go ahead, Simone.
Wrong has been done.
First of all, there is definitely a way to deny those Project Veritas videos. O'Keefe has been discredited time and time again, and the only rigging that is going on here is the systemic suppression of the votes of young people, of black people, of Latinos in this country, and of older folks. And we can't deny that it's Republican legislatures and Republican governors doing that work. What's going on and what's happened in not just North Carolina, but in places like Georgia, where the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under the law had to go in and fight back for to open up DMV offices. These things are targeted against black communities. So let's not pretend that this isn't happening, and let's not pretend like this is systemic.
Okay, everybody stand by.
Well, let's not pretend that fraud is...
let's not pretend fraud is a thing. Let's stop. Because it's not.
Well, no. Look, I'm a Republican ward leader in the city of Philadelphia, and I have personally watched, fraud being committed in precincts.
Oh my goodness.
The voter fraud is
take us out, Don, please. Take us out.
Listen, we do need to get a break in. So I'm going to. The president was on the Tom Joyner morning show this morning talking about.